Welcome to Timelines, episode 151. Well, welcome to the Secret Santa Timeline Show. We have Japhy Ryder on, and this is really a thrill. You know, this is what's fun about Blab. We're recording on Blab. It's a Saturday, and Japhy, I got it right. Japhy came up, and he's here. His Secret Santa. He's going to tell us all about himself, how he got to where he is today, and what he does. So, Japhy, it's all yours.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate it for having me on board here with your podcast, Bill. Yeah, basically, I've been living in South Korea since 2002, mostly working here in the capacity of a professional elf. So, and it's a different culture, of course, over in Asia. The way things go, a lot different than what how they are in the West. And because I know when you say professional elf, it kind of sets people back a little bit. It's like, what did I just hear? So no, we really do exist. I kid you not. So, and that's been going quite well. I'm not sure how long I'm actually going to pursue things, but the thing is, what happens is that if you stick to work within the profession and develop your skills long enough, that what you find happening is you get to the level where I am right now, and so basically I've been recruited by Santa Claus to be part of this project and go out and spread the message, as it were, so that people can hear more about our secret Santa project.
So very good. So more details about Secret Santa. What is the project?
Well, I think a lot of listeners probably have actually heard of Secret Santa. This is just a kind of what we're doing here, though. We're kind of upping the game a little. We're taking things a step further, and what we're doing is we're taking it. Actually, this is focused. The end game here is to have Secret Santa spread clear across the entire planet. Actually, if you can believe that. So, and this is Christmas time, of course. This is the season of charity and goodwill. So, what you find happening though under Secret Santa is you have you have on the one hand people who are the needy, and the other hand the people who are able to provide for uh, people's needs and have them met. So, our job is simply to see that these two the two sides of the coin, as it were, that their needs are that the needs of that the needy are taken care of on their from their side, their end of things, and that we are able to find benefactors, people who are have more resources at their fingertips, and just they're little they're doing better, they're a little more well off than others, that they're able to provide and help people, whether it's a cash donation or clothes or food. We've even worked a barter. We have a barter uh, uh, kind of angle to things as well that we've incorporated, as well as, I mean, if you have benefactors out there that they are matched up with someone who is in need, yet these people that they're looking for jobs. We should, you have to remember, because a lot of people around the world are they're jobless. So I think what we're planning, hoping to do here over the long run is even create a degree of actually it's a job creation and employment. So nothing but good things on the horizon.
So what type of jobs would you create, and how does that help people? A job is always good, of course.
So here's the deal. Like, we have no say in that. That's completely out of our hands, right? As is, and this is for the record, because I think there should be. I mean, well, obviously, all this is for the record, but there a lot of disinformation. Especially, I'm really kind of surprised, a little shocked, a little disappointed with the level of disinformation, it seems, and just confusion. There's people are somewhat, for some strange reason, mystified, trying to make things a little more complicated than what they really are. I've come across like allegations of, oh, well, this is just a scam. This is not what it seems. This is they're out for big bucks, that kind of thing. The reality is that we are there's not a single penny There's not a single cent that we are asking in return for offering our services. Our services are completely 100% totally free. Period. And for the record, just so that we make that clear, people are hearing this, and hopefully there's no more. This is not an issue any longer. I'm kind of tired of having to deal with these people that they just don't seem to get it. I don't know why. People are still strange sometimes as far as like what you tell them and how that they seem to in their minds they're hearing it all kind of go down. So that we're not selling anything. This is all about sharing. We're sharing. It's not only the spirit of the season, spirit of Christmas, but also just the information and the contacts mostly, so that people can hook up essentially and be put in touch with one another.
Japhy, what brings you to Korea? How'd you end up there?
Well, in some ways, I think it was actually my destiny, because I grew up in Canada, actually, out in the West Coast, British Columbia, and I left in 2002. There's actually Canada Day now. They come to think of it, which is that's I think rather significant, in a sense, particularly that up until that point. I'd largely been like a real kind of patriotic sort of type, but living out of the country for so long, it's like your perspective, I guess, on things and the larger picture tend to change. But yeah, my destiny really is, I think, what brought me to South Korea. It's where I'm supposed to be, I guess, at this particular time. It's been a great learning experience, having an opportunity to find more things out about the culture and the people and the history, and so it hasn't been like I've been completely wasting my time here, but it hasn't been easy either, because it's you're a foreigner, obviously, an outsider, and the minority, and you get to experience things from that perspective.
So, what in South Korea? Where are you living? What part?
That is at the moment highly classified.
Okay,
so,
I lived in
I'll give you I'm sorry.
I lived in Uijeongbu for a year.
Okay. That's up in Seoul, isn't it, or just south of Seoul?
17 kilometers north of Seoul, near a place called Triple Deuce, the most forward deployed airstrip in the South Korea.
Oh yeah. Now, people, I'm speaking. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, I was okay. Well, but I was just going to add that it's really interesting. I'm not sure if Santa got this up in place or not. I've yet to talk to him. Perhaps after the show here, I'll give him a call. But look at the map up here that recently Blab has brought in and kind of brought on board and incorporated into their platform here, which I might add, I'm myself quite happy with. It's a lot of fun and very efficient, and very it's really great to be a part of things here and just what they have to offer with the recent, I guess, the beta upgrade and so forth. So, but the map here, you can clearly see,
wow,
the green dot there. That's where I'm over there in Korea, and that's yeah. So, but looks go ahead.
Not far from Busan.
Yeah, it's somewhere in that area, I guess. Kind of central south, kind of not here there. Like I moved the dot around a little bit too, so people wouldn't I'm not the guy who. Believe it or not, I'm not the kind of guy who craves the spotlight. Maybe you might have guessed that by the fact that all we have here at the moment is we have a picture. I'm just kind of taking the the old-fashioned kind of radio approach here. Not really keen on. I'm not. See, we got two kinds of people here. It seems, the social media, and Blab is a good example as any. We have the exhibitionists and we have the voyeurs, and I bet you know which one I am. Don't you? I'll leave that to you to figure out.
Voyeur?
The exhibitionists, absolutely. I like to watch people. Kind of in the, kind of like in the class, Howard Hughes kind of sense.
Interesting.
Very much. Yeah, I have no problem talking to you. With my voice and connecting on that level, I'm more than happy. So there's some people, of course, who they kind of lurk around and kind of hang around the sidelines, and they don't really ever contribute much, even in text chat. But no, I'm here and I'm happy to have a conversation.
Well, Japhy, I'd like to go to a break. How's that sound?
It sounds good to me. Let's do it.
So there's a jet. That means it's time for a quick break. And of course, our sponsors are Share the Oil, Northern Nevada, and of course, netcasting101.com. without ado, we're going to get back to Japhy, and this is an interesting conversation. Never had one quite like it. We're going to talk about Japhy's 3 success life leadership principles that he talks about, and they are kindness, authenticity, and sharing. So let's talk about kindness.
I'm glad you wrote that down, Bill, because I if you would have asked me over, I probably just would have come up with some new ones. So, but yeah, kindness. I mean, well, look, I've been a practicing Buddhist for the past 25 years or so, and as anyone that's investigated or researched Buddhism, they'll know that that's an important part of the path. So, yeah, I mean, it's a good start. You want to say, I mean, ideally, you want to be a kind person. We're not perfect, of course, none of us, and sometimes even the best of us, even the best of us elves, we kind of we kind of get maybe a little hot under the collar, or we don't necessarily act in the best way that we could. But that's critical. Yeah, I believe the word is, well, it's kind of like compassion, kindness. Karuna is, I guess that's one of the the Sanskrit word. I'm pretty lazy when it comes to all this. As far as an academic standpoint, it's more my path. The Buddhist approach is done now more just kind of an intuitive, instinctual level, not so much in the book sense of the word. So, yeah. But yeah, kindness, sure. Oh, I mean, that's powerful stuff. For just absolutely.
So what does kindness mean to you in more detail? What's an act of kindness?
Well, like what we're doing here with Second Santa. I mean, here we go. I mean, it's like we're presenting to the world this. It's like right there for everyone to see, right out in plain sight. Basically, we're giving this. This is our gift to the world. I mean, it doesn't get much bigger than that, I don't think, unless you want to start like bringing galaxies and other universes and parallel dimensions into the picture. But I mean, I mean, you can only do so much. Even us elves, we can only go so far, right?
Right. I can't wait to get to the last part of the show. That we'll talk about Art Bell and the other elements, because you get to go do a commercial too at the second break. So authenticity. Well, tell us about authenticity.
My take on authenticity. Well, boy, here we go. It's just keeping it real, keeping it real. It's what you hear, the voice that you hear coming at you from the other side of the screen here, I guess. It's that's me. I mean, this is we're sitting down, hanging out, spending some time together. We just it'd be basically the same conversation. So I don't really try to be anyone I'm not, and sometimes that's an issue. Authenticity, it does not always necessarily reap immediate positive rewards. In the sense that people sometimes they have a problem or take offense to your authenticity. Yeah, at the same time, the authentic person will stick to their guns, and they won't compromise if for anyone or anything, no matter how badly they're bullied or intimidated or what have you. So, but you've got to be kind too. That's important, never to sacrifice that principle either. So, but yeah, just keeping it real. No pretentiousness, no sense or phony kind of front at all. Because once again in Buddhism, there's this whole business of with ego. People from the other end, hearing my voice, might say, for example, or when they meet me, even it's like, oh, he's kind of arrogant. He's a little too confident for what he should be, and da 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 da. But it's there's no ego in Buddhism. We don't believe. Maybe there's some Buddhists out there who believe that ultimately ego does not exist. On a relative level, yes, relatively there is, we do have egos, but on an ultimate sense, no. So it's important for us to just simply be aware of that and work within those with that understanding and knowledge, and within just work with the way that things are under as in accordance to that being the case.
Well, the next question that I was going to follow up, and I think you answered part of it, but how do you tell when a person is authentic? You answered part of it. You said they're consistent, but how do you tell?
Mm-hmm.
Like, we do a show called Meet the Voter, and I'm looking at the candidates, and how do I tell if somebody's authentic of those candidates?
Yeah, I mean, hey, politicians, they're some of the best actors out there, aren't they?
That's for sure.
Wow. I should really look at that because I haven't really taken the time to actually look at this whole like the word. Because when I'm presented with a new word or word that I'd like to try to work on getting a better understanding of, I'd like to look at it and look at the definite diction definite def diction. Oh gosh, too much eggnog tonight. I went out to the store and it's like, here comes the rum. And, the elves after they've got their work taken care of, like there is time for celebration. They've got all the toys and things together, and the mood tends to lift, and the eggnog, believe me, it does tend to it does tend to help out on that front. So in the true Christmas tradition sense of the word Christmas revelry and so forth. So yeah, authenticity. Well, I'm into etymology myself personally and language. I love language. But yeah, if I'm using a new word, I like to get a dictionary and work on trying to unlock, because really for me that's really key to unlocking the mystery of words, and looking behind perhaps the veil, as it were, um, and seeing what really the word at its core and essence, and even in the historical contents, how it originated and evolved to its more contemporary meaning. Just simply because a word has a new meaning, it doesn't mean it still is the same word. So I think a lot of it comes down to intention of how the word is used, and the insight of who the people that are how people use the word, and to the depth or the insight that people have, the understanding that they have when doing so.
Paul,
Authenticity, author. Let's go there. The prefix author, authentic. I mean, help me on this. The suffix, like
I,
what are the suffixes we have there? The author, automobile. I don't know. It's like auto, maybe self, self. There we go. There's a self, like autonomy. Now that's a word. Autonomy, self naming. As a practicing libertarian, speaking of like what is it you call it? Not meet the press, but meet the people. That's
meet the voter.
meet the
Well,
people.
I started out with Meet the
Meet the
People, but it's
voter.
Meet the Voter now.
Okay.
Meetthevoter.com.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, autonomy, that's central, I guess, really to the whole libertarian way of seeing things, and that we ought to be left alone, and able to freely choose how it is that we where we live our lives, it literally means self-naming. Autonome, the word for the French word for name is nom, and auto, of course, is self. So hence self-naming. But that's not the way the state would have it. It seems they would rather kind of dictate and impose their will and agenda upon the population, reducing them essentially to the level at times where they are nothing more than a bullied, kind of beaten down slave people.
Very good. I loved how you approached that and tore apart the word to determine how you tell, or how you determine, or how you think about authenticity. That was very good. I appreciate that, Japhy. So we're going to go to the last one here, is sharing.
Well,
Kindness,
sharing that once
authenticity.
again. Yeah. Kindness. I mean, it all kind of ties into itself. And sharing once again. Okay, I'll give you. Let me. I can set this up actually and give you some context. It's which I'm happy I can do, because a lot of times when you're putting the crossfires or the crosshairs like this, it doesn't always work. But yeah, sharing. I've been kind of making my way around. I mean, how many members do we have here in the Blab community? 50,000, 100,000, 30,000. I have no idea. But anyways, I've been making my way, flying around, doing my little with my little doing the elf gig out there, trying to promote what we got on the go here at the Secret Santa, and basically catching a lot of flack from people, just oddly enough, which leaves me, it's kind of like it's kind of I feel kind of taken aback, like shocked. Like I thought Christmas was a big deal in the West. I mean, I can understand where I get a bit of resistance and pushback, and kind of like meh, it's no big deal from kind of response from the Muslim folks, the community that are a part of Blab, and there are quite a few, it seems. But and that's another story, believe me, for another time. That whole thing, as far as keeping the Christ in Christmas is concerned. But and then Santa and Rudolph and all that stuff. But my understanding had long been people in the West were they were big into to Christmas. So I go into these rooms, the blabs that people have set up, and I'm there. I'm trying to just be friendly, and I see, for example, one lady who I won't mention her name out of just for reasons of integrity and basic, I guess, ethics, and just out of respect for her on a certain level, I guess. Hopefully, we can repair things on that front, and maybe make nice at some point. She'll have come to a different way of a new way of seeing things, and not so quick to quick to boot the elf from get him kind of out of the seat, so he's not able to share what he has to offer. But they really are not some people. So there's kind of 50-50 almost. I've seen some people who kind of see what's going on and understand it. They're getting on board and behind it. And the other people, I'm not sure. I'm just ballparking things 50%. Who are, when I come into a room, they say, "You're selling something. What are you trying to sell? What's in it for you?" This kind of stuff. And because if you've noticed, there's a lot of people here on Blab, they are selling things and they're not hiding anything. They have all these groups with marketing and sales and strategies and, all these with their products and da-da-da. And yeah, big time there. So they're conditioned, I guess, in their own minds to immediately assume anytime somebody comes along, they must be selling something. Well, we're not. We're sharing. And I believe that was the third word that I chose, the sharing. So the third theme or what have you. We're sharing the gift of Christmas, the gift of giving. You have other gifts, of course, too. The gift of knowledge, the gift of the gift of there's many gifts, of course, but the gift of knowledge. I guess I hope I'm not repeating myself, but yeah. So no, we're sharing, and like I said, there's nothing in this for all except to be part of the season, participation, the Christmas spirit, and helping people who are the less fortunate, the downtrodden, and those in need. Find people, connect them with kind, people who are benefactors who are more capable to just putting them in touch with one another so that they can make that match and have a very Merry Christmas.
Japhy, with that, we're going to go to a break. We're going to come back and talk about the Art Bell connection. Well, we're back for that second break, that commercial break. Usually the commercials are all about making money, but this one's not about making money. We have Japhy here, and he's going to tell us all about Secret Santa, or it's his time for his commercial.
Well, my commercial. We were just talking about this. Listen, I'm just going to say once again, that's really the main reason I'm here. I could come back another time. We could talk about other issues, but it is the season. And we're working on putting together. We got time really with what we're trying to accomplish here. Time is our enemy, so we've got, I think it's 6 or 7 days now. I haven't really checked, but something along those lines. We're trying to get our message out as widely as possible. Santa has he's given his orders. We're responding accordingly. His orders down from the top, and we're hoping that people are going to hear about these what we have on the go here. We've actually, believe it or not, here we've got contacts we have established now in Portugal, the UAE, Ireland, England. We have New York State, New York City, California. Got all these different bases covered. I mean, it's just it seems like we are gaining momentum here, it seems. So what we're asking people, though, the Middle East is kind of problematic. So we'd like to find if there's anyone out there that has any connections or friends that maybe live in places like Palestine, where I believe there is a considerable Christian population. I think there's still a few Christians that they haven't that's still they're still living, that haven't been massacred yet. So let's hope that's the case at least. And elsewhere within the Middle East, where good people, people of good cheer and kind disposition reside, and there are many good people, of course, everywhere, including the Islamic faith and community. So, but yeah, we're just basically trying to get the word out. Asia, we're trying to cover all the continents, and if you like Christmas, whether you're a traditionalist, fundamentalist Christian, whether you just are, you like the idea of Santa and Rudolph and having, getting together and spending time with family and, having just, the food and so forth, the good discussion and whatnot. We want you to hear about this and look into what it is that we're offering. And once again, what we're offering is simply a platform and a means of people connecting so that we have the needy on the one hand, the people out there who are suffering and are struggling through their lives, and those who have something that they can contribute to help make these people's lives less miserable. So, and whether it's in the form of a cash contribution, we have a cap right now of $1,000. Although if you connect, the sponsor connects with the person that they consider that they'd like to help, that's up to them if they want to increase that amount. I mean, just off the top of my head, I know of one particular lady that I would love to see. She's got I heard her story the other day. I spoke to her personally. She has this operation, and it would take a couple $1,000s to have that covered. But I tell you, man, it would really mean a lot to me if she'd be helped out. So, but no, let's just say, cash aside, we clothes, food, you name it. Let's start thinking out of the box here. That's what we're encouraging people to do, as well as a barter, a potential barter angle. If that's how folks want to approach things, or just outright employment. Last time I checked, I mean, there's a bit of an unemployment issue in places like the U.S., Canada, and many places throughout the world. And so I think we could do better on these fronts as a collective whole, as just working together to make the world a better place to be and to live. So I think really what all it takes is a little bit of imagination and will. The vision is there. So and I think we have the means, but let's see if people can kind of rally around the Secret Santa thing and make some real kind of Christmas magic happen.
Okay, sounds good. So let's go on to the Art Bell connection, and we'll finish up the show. How we can contact you?
I'm sorry, you'd like to talk about
what's the Art Bell connection? You talked about Art Bell. What's your connection with Art Bell?
Sure. Well, I don't have any personal connection with the man, although I have appeared a couple times on his show. So you'd have to go back to the archives. I mean, there are a few rabid fans out there, so it's up to them with what they want to, if they want to take it upon themselves to just a little bit of a hunt for the archives and like, where's this Japhy guy? Who is this? This elf. So that's up to them. But my connection there, and I'm going to try to keep this short because there's a lot. I've got a few freelance articles I put together regarding this whole, because I had kind of behind the scenes kind of insight on things. And wow, I mean, the things I saw for some people would really kind of shock them, the way that people, and you find this all through the entertainment and celebrity world, it seems, where people and this maybe goes back to what I was saying earlier, Bill, about authenticity. This is why it's so important to me. It really kind of gets under my skin, when you got these people, these role models and so forth that are put out there in front of these cameras and whatnot, and on while they're on air, it's like they're one thing, and then behind the scenes, there's something completely, quite radically different. So, but yeah, you do find a lot of that. And the radio industry, of course, is no different. So we'll just leave it at that for now. But I was part of a Facebook group. I got the opportunity. I was brought on board to work as a administrator of the group, and I spent some time kind of hanging around, making some connections, making some new friends, and basically I was essentially recruited. Well, what happened first was there was a falling out. There was a fellow I think is a pretty public. His name is it's no great secret, but his name is Leo Ashcraft. And he's part of what was then the known as the Mutual Broadcast Network, and he was there was a falling out between himself and Keith Rowland. I guess is how the story goes, and that's my understanding of things. And art really wasn't so much the issue, according to Leo, at that particular time. Although the way things kind of went on, it got to that, and one thing led to another, and people's feelings got hurt, and it turned out to be this major pissing match, is what we saw kind of all sort of erupt between the two parties. Basically, Keith's was digital radio, dark matter digital radio network, and then we had the emergence of Leo's Mutual Broadcast Network in the wake of all of this. So he just shortly after that, I guess he liked the way my voice resonated over the airwaves. He plucked me out. The way I've kind of said, it's like I felt like I was plucked out from out of nowhere, really, and asked to be brought on board, serve in the capacity of his news producer. And I looked at that. I considered it as a possibility for some time. It was an exciting opportunity. Unfortunately, I had to pass it up, and turned it down. And then he just, there's more opportunities that he was offering me, and it could seem like he was really interested and really wanted to get me on board to do, serve in some capacity or another. So I eventually ended up coming on board as his what we had was the flagship enterprise. He had this show that he was putting together as the executive producer. That went on for about a month or so. In the end, I was thrown under the bus quite unceremoniously, I might add, and kicked to the curb. So that's another story. That's another day, another story. Believe me, that's a good one too. But maybe I'll come back another time. And from there, and I've been since then. I've been carrying on my own, just kind of moving on. You dust yourself up. You pick up the pieces, you get your act together, and just kind of assess things, and you move on. So here's where we are now, and I hope that things will continue in a positive way. And once again, it's this is it's everything's really working out for the best for everyone on all fronts.
Well, Japhy, that's a good way to finish up. Well, one thing we want to know is how can the listener contact you?
Oh man, there's so many ways. I mean, tell you that's as of late, I've really been kind of getting tied into this whole social media thing. So you can find me on Facebook. Just type in Japhy Ryder on Facebook. Minds.com. I'm not a big fan of Facebook, frankly. We'll get that in the open right now. That's a really secondary kind of way of contacting me. Twitter, of course, is another way, and I should go back to minds.com before we pass it over, because if I had a chance to do a commercial, it might have been for them. I'm hoping that we can even see minds.com, and it's spelled minds.com. It is an alternative to Facebook. They have a lot more to offer, I feel, and they really respect the public a lot more, and as far as privacy and protecting their like, there's no data mining or advertising that takes place or occurs over there either. So my way of looking at it, this is a recent proposal, was that minds.com actually get together with the and I've been in touch with the CEO over at minds.com, believe it or not. I'd like to see him, and I'd like to see a summit actually. So I'm kind of throwing it out there, and hopefully maybe the two will be able to hear this interview at some point and take it into consideration. But Bill Ottman, if you're listening to this, you might want to consider perhaps coming on over to Blab and talking to Sean. I haven't met Sean. I've been hearing about Sean, but maybe one day he'll show up somewhere where we'll actually be able to have a bit of an exchange. But I think there's a lot of things, the good work that can be done with these two platforms, Minds.com and Blab, working together. I really do. The vision of what I'm seeing here, as far as what could potentially come to fruition over the long term. I'm not sure how close they would be working together exactly. It might just be a sort of kind of unofficial affiliation, or it might be more intense and integrated. So, but yeah, Twitter, Facebook, as I was saying, quite secondary. I'm not a big fan of Facebook. I've got some issues there we could talk about maybe another time. Minds.com, Skype. Just go out there and look for Japhy Ryder. It shouldn't be too difficult. I don't really, I don't. Here I am, our operators are standing by. We were, and of course here too on Blab, don't forget, we've had these rooms open here. We've been picking up a lot of traffic. So I'm gonna shoot these into the. I'll share these with the folks that are here with us here now, and the numbers here are quite good actually. I'm quite impressed with the amount of interest that we've been able to generate here. So let me just share this with you folks here, and we'll carry on here.
Hey, Japhy, we're going to continue on. We're going to open it up to everyone to talk. This is the end of the podcast. You go to timelinesofsuccess.com, episode 51. You'll be able to link to all the notes. You'll be able to link to this on there. You can go up, scroll through the blog notes and find all these links. That's a great platform. But I want to thank you for coming on the podcast. But stay on. We're going to answer questions over on blab.im.
Thanks a lot. Appreciate it, Bill. We'll hopefully see you again sometime. Everybody, Merry Christmas. Ho, 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 ho.
Folks, this is we just did a podcast, and I'm recording this maybe for the YouTube. Not sure if I'll cut this from the iTunes podcast. But I want to thank all the listeners. We got a lot of listeners today on Blab. Really appreciate you coming in. Japhy, I thank you for coming in, for filling in today. We had an open slot.
My pleasure.
If you go to,
it was all very spontaneous. Yeah, I'm still here. It was all quite spontaneous, and I'm really it's good karma for you, Bill. You got some good karma coming down on you, believe me. So thanks. I appreciate it once again, and maybe we'll talk again some other time. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. And in closing, I believe in karma. Good things come around if you keep on working at it and you do the right things. Take care.